So how many of you, have grown up on a farm? How many of you? I don't know. You grew up on a farm?
Chicken farm.
Oh, a chicken farm. Interesting. Well, I didn't grow up on a farm, and the majority of you guys didn't grow up on a farm, it seems, by your hands. So we might need a little translation in the gospel. Today's Gospel of John, Jesus tells a story of him being a good shepherd. And Jesus uses this analogy to describe a relationship that he has with his followers, not only with the apostles. I'll give you a little catechism here. In Jesus' realm of friends, mostly like us, we have friends who we've been with for years, and then we have acquaintances. There's different levels of discipleship, even for Jesus. He had the 12 apostles who were very close to him. They were his buddies, 12 of them. One didn't turn out too well, but the other 11 did. And this friendship that he had with his apostles was very deep because he was there to teach them. The disciples are kind of in another ring outside. The disciples were people who followed him. Wherever he would go, people would follow him. So there's kind of like a two-tier system going on here. We should recognize that. But whether you're an apostle or a disciple, you're all pretty much in the same boat. Jesus says that anyone who enters the sheep pen through the gate is the shepherd of the sheep. The sheep recognize the voice of the shepherd and follow him. When I was about 8, my Aunt Delia had a farm that my Pepe used to bring me to. You know where Luther Corner is? She had a farm heading toward Warren. And she had about 20 sheep and 2 cows, a couple of goats just to keep the place nice and trim. They would eat just about anything. And when I was a kid, I would go out into that field. It was a huge, huge field. And the sheep, I'd be calling them. She had some lambs, some baby lambs. She had a ram. She had 1 ram. And the rest were sheep, female sheep. And I would try to get them to follow me. And they would not follow me, especially the little ones, because they're adorable. They would not follow me. But neither would the cow. And it was a very small calf, and I tried to ride it, and that was not a good thing. The minute that Delia would go out there to feed them, they would follow her all over the farm. I mean, everywhere she went, whether she had food or she didn't have food, they were just comfortable with my Aunt Delia. With me, they did not know. Sheep are very domesticated animals. They're kind of like dogs. They've grown up with and evolved with people over the years. And like dogs, they become tame, and they clearly know who their owner is. They're no longer wild animals, far from it, but they've been domesticated. This does not mean that they don't at times revert to wild behavior, because I was chased out of that field by the ram. And when I saw him ducking his head down, and they kind of do like what a bull does, I knew what he was after. He was after me. And I ran out of the thing, and I jumped. I just about made it over the fence. So they can get a little wild, sheep. So they're very much like people, I think. And they're very much like the relationship that we have with Jesus. We can get a little wild. I can get a little wild. You can get a little wild. You can get a little sinful. I don't want to say it's okay, but it happens. There's no two ways about it. People can get wild and pretty sinful. But the thing is to keep coming back to the shepherd. We can have our fun, and sin can be very seductive on many, many levels. But the idea is, no matter what we've done in our lives, and we could write books on our own lives, I'm sure, but to come back to that voice of the shepherd time and time again. And that's the whole trick, I think, of Christianity, is coming back, even though we've sinned, and you know when you screwed up a lot. Because I know when I screw up, I don't want to talk to God at all. Because I know He knows what I've been up to. And many times that happens, where we don't listen to His voice because we think in our own pea brains He doesn't want to hear us in our sinfulness. But that's exactly opposite. He wants us to talk to Him about our sinfulness. He wants us to get it right with our fellow man and with God Himself. So, Jesus explains in the gospel today that Father Michael read that He is the gate. He calls Himself many things in the gospels. Today He says, I'm the gate. And if you have ever seen a sheep gate, it's very, very thin to walk through. You can't be obese. You'll never make it through the sheep gate. So those sheep, as they're going out into pasture, have to go through this gate. And it's much like us. We have to go through that gate. Jesus is the gate for us, the gate to life. I think many times, as Catholics especially, and as Christians, we think that we have to, be always mea culpa, mea maxima culpa. This is not Christianity. This is not the Easter message of always feeling glum and looking down on ourselves, even when we sin. When we sin, we tell Jesus, oh well, screwed that one up, let's keep walking. And that's the whole trick, is to walk with Him in sin and without sin. And there'll be times, and sometimes many years, where you had a good year and you don't sin a whole lot. And there are other times when all you do is sin, and every word, nearly every word that comes out of your mouth either insults someone or hurts someone. But the thing about Christianity is coming back to Him, coming back to the Good Shepherd, coming back through that gate. It's about as easy as that. So when you think you're deplorable, He thinks you're lovable. You might not like the things that you're doing, but He still loves you. And that is something that is hard to wrap our heads around, because when we're deceived, when we're sinned against by our friends, it's worse when a friend deceives you, then we look at them in a different way, don't we? We go, oh, wait till the other shoe drops. What is he or she going to do to me next? They've already, said this about me. What's coming? God's not like that. His memory is very short. When it comes to His kids, He's a very loving Father. So today, we have an agrarian parable from agriculture, and a lot of Jesus' stories are agrarian, because the people of that time knew that. They raised sheep, they raised flocks, they raised wheat. They were farmers. I think if Jesus would come back today, probably wouldn't be, unless He was out in the Midwest, He probably wouldn't be talking to us about agrarian life in parables. We'd probably be talking about Instagram and Facebook probably Twitter, probably other apps as well, to get our attention, something that we can relate to. So, as we read the Gospels, and this is why it's important, even to attend small groups, because we do go into a lot of what it means to be a Christian today, not 2,000 years ago, when everybody was either a farmer or a tax collector. But come to the point where Jesus is something in your life. Not just something on Sunday. That's very, very easy. It's easy even for the priests and the deacons and to be Catholic on Sunday. That's pretty easy. But to be Christian and Catholic all week, it's a little bit, takes a little bit more time. You should always try to listen to the voice of the Good Shepherd, especially if you're in sin. And you know when you're in sin. You feel like usually like crap, and until you either apologize to that person or ask God for forgiveness, then you'll feel much better. So, my brothers and sisters, today, let us follow the voice of our Good Shepherd. Let us follow the voice of Jesus in good times and in bad, when we're sinful and when we're saintly. Amen?
Amen.
Amen.